Okay, so now we will be moving on to activity number 4, which is the spreadsheet activity. So this is where you will have a lot of calculations to be done. Okay, so let's move on to activity number 4. Over here it is also we are starting section B now. Over here it says Celtic Spring Scuba teaches diving courses. The spreadsheet courses contains information about the courses offered. Okay, so do check, do you have the spreadsheet courses with you? Yes, I do have it. You also should be having it with you. It has two worksheets called costs and details. Some of the functions require you to use both worksheets. Okay, so open the spreadsheet courses, open the worksheet costs, and enter these details in the header. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go, let's open up courses and immediately go for the header. So you can come to insert, and you have header and footer. We come into the header, and in the header we are supposed to type task B1, your name, candidate number, and center number. Okay, so task B1, your name, candidate number, and your center number. Okay, so once you're done with the header, the next question goes on to say enter an automatic time in the footer and center it. Okay, so the time should be an automatic value which should be automatically get updated. Okay, so you need to scroll down to the footer, just click over here and you can scroll down to the footer and come to insert, and sorry, let's come to header and footer, and let's come to current time. Okay, so we have the date or the time. What did they ask for? They asked for the time. Okay, so it's in the center already. Okay, so once you're done with this, you can come back to your cell. Okay, then the next question goes on to say merge and center cells A1 to K1. Now before I do that, right now I'm in something known as a layout view. Can you see how my document looks like? Right now I'm in layout view where the header and footer is visible. I would like to go back into normal view. Okay, you can see right now I'm in page layout view, so I'm going to go back into normal view. Okay, and over here it says merge and center cells A1 to K1. So A1 to K1 needs to be merged. Let's select it with the mouse. I'm clicking and selecting, and if you come to the home tab, you have the merge and center option over here. So merge and center basically means make all these selected cells into one cell. So when you click on that, you can see it becomes one cell. Diving courses has been center aligned automatically. Then it goes on to say insert a dotted line border around the merge cells. So right now I'm on the merge cell. Around this merge cell I need a dotted border. Okay, so over here we have different borders that we can select. I just need a border that is dotted, so I'll have to come to more borders, and from over here I'll have to take a dotted style. Let's take something like this, and let's click on OK. Okay, so did it get applied? I think it did not get applied. Let's try again. I want it to be dotted. Okay, and I want it to be around. Okay, so I want it to be around the cell, so click on outline and click on OK. So now when you come down, can you see the dotted border is appearing for your cell? Okay, then the question paper goes on to say set the formatting of the heading to the font size should be 22, the font color should be white, and the cell shading should be black. Okay, so not too difficult. Let's make this 22. It should be white in color, and the cell shading should be black in color. Okay, so there you go, and you can see this, the height needs to be increased, so you can keep the cursor on row number 1 and you can pull it down so that the height is increased a little bit more. Okay, that's better. Then the question goes on to say Simon wants you to use spreadsheet tools to analyze the data for the open water course. Okay, use spreadsheet functions to display the cost and discount for the open water course. Okay, so over here you are supposed to find the cost, and this is something on your own that you have to understand. When you come into the details worksheet, over here it says if the cost is A, if the cost reference is A, the cost is 200 pounds. If it is B, it's 300 pounds. Okay, so I have to use a function that will take values from here, that will take the correct value from here depending on the cost reference that is on this side. Okay, so you can use something known as VLOOKUP. Okay, so VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup, and you can use the lookup function to get values from a different worksheet. Okay, so how do we do it? Let me show you. So I come to functions. Okay, I come to insert functions and I search for VLOOKUP. Now since I have used VLOOKUP recently, you can see VLOOKUP is appearing on the top for me. However, for you, you may have to come and search for it over here. You may have to come and type VLOOKUP over here and press go. Okay, so then VLOOKUP will appear for you. Now once you take VLOOKUP, the first question it asks you is lookup value. Lookup value means what is the value we are checking, because keep in mind the cost will appear based on the cost reference. Okay, so our lookup value is the cost reference. Based on cost reference only the cost will appear. So our lookup value is B3. Then the next question is table array. Table array is where are your values kept, where are your answers kept. So then I come and tell it's inside the details worksheet from here to here. Okay, so somewhere inside here my answers are kept. Okay, so you can see details worksheet A1 to C7. Okay, then the third question is column index number. Now column index number means in your table array. Now in my table array I have selected 3 columns now. So column index number means which of these 3 columns has your answers. So right now I am looking for cost, isn't it? Cost is in column number 2. So my column index number will be 2. Okay, because right now I am looking for the cost, and from these 3 columns that I have selected, column number 2 is having my answer. So over here I will put just 2. Okay guys, make sure it's just 2. Okay, don't go and click on anything else, just simply type 2 over there. Then the fourth question you have is something called range lookup. Okay, now range lookup, over here also the explanation is given to you. Now say for example, if you are looking for values, if you want a value that is exactly equal to C, that answer should appear over here. Okay, if you are looking for exact matches, okay, whatever is exactly equal to C, that answer should appear over here. In that case you can type false over here. Okay, if you are looking for values that is somewhat similar to your lookup value, say for example CA, CB, CD, CE, or for example C3, 4, 5. Okay, so anything that is somewhat similar to your lookup value, if you want to accept its corresponding value, then over here you will put true. Okay, but since we want exact matches, it has to be exactly equal to C, then take that value. Okay, we want something that is exactly equal to C, so it has to be 400. We want something that is exactly equal to D. We don't want somewhat exact matches, we don't want, we want proper exact matches. Okay, we don't want somewhat similar, we want exact matches. So since we want exact matches, over here we type false. If you want somewhat similar matches, okay, over here you can type true. Okay, if you are confused over my explanation, I would recommend just reading this part over here. Okay, just read this part over here and you should be able to get a proper understanding. Okay, so we'll be typing false over here. Okay, now there's one more thing that you need to keep in mind which is, let me remove this, this should not come which is when I start replicating means I'm going to pull this formula downwards. Okay, instead of doing it manually for every cell, I will be replicating. So there is something called lookup value. Now when I replicate it, I want B3 to become B4, B4 should become B5, B5 should become B6, isn't it? As I keep replicating the formula, I want this lookup value address to keep changing. Okay, however table array will always be inside the details worksheet from A1 to C7, isn't it? No matter how much I replicate it, I always want to refer to this range, isn't it? It's always going to be A1 to C7. So no matter how much I replicate my formula, I do not want this address changing. So this is what we call absolute cell reference, where you will be locking this cell so that when you replicate it, this address does not change. So the shortcut key to do this is select the entire address and press F4. So when you press F4, you can notice a dollar appearing before A, which means lock column A. A dollar appearing before 1, which means lock row number 1. A dollar appearing before C, which means lock rows column C. A dollar before 7, which means lock row number 7. So this entire range, this entire table array has now got locked. So no matter how much I replicate it, this address will not change. It will always be A1 to C7. Okay, now remember, when you press the F4 key, if you are using a laptop, F4 key might be to increase volume, decrease volume, increase brightness, it might be for some other function. So then you may have to press F and F4. Okay, just keep that in mind. Column index number is not a cell address, so we don't need to lock it. False is also not a cell address, so we don't need to worry about it. Okay, so now let's click OK. So you can see when the cost reference is C, it's appearing 400. Let's replicate it and see is it working for the others as well. So let's see, is B 300? Yes, B is 300. Let's see, is F 650? Yes, F is 650. Okay, so do try it and see. I hope it works for you. Okay, it might take 2-3 practice, maybe 2-3 attempts to get it correct. Okay, but also do keep in mind, even though the paper did not tell us, or they might tell it to us later on, this is a currency value, so we need to put the pound symbol for it. We can do this later, no problems. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is we also have to find the discount. Now we found the cost, we also have to find the discount. So when you come to the details worksheet, you can see if the cost reference is A, so much of discount is given. If the cost reference is B, so much of discount is given. Okay, so let's try this again using VLOOKUP. Let's come to insert functions. Let's come to VLOOKUP. Over here again, once again, our lookup value, the value that we will be checking is the cost reference. Based on the cost reference only, the discount is going to appear. Okay, the next question is table array. Where are your answers kept? Okay, so I tell it's inside the details worksheet from here to here. Okay, now keep in mind, guys, this is a fixed range. Okay, it's not going to change no matter how much I replicate my formula. The table array is going to be the same, so I'm going to lock it by pressing the F4 key. Okay, so when I press F4, it gets locked. I'm reminding you again, your laptop F4 might be for a different function, so you may have to press FN F4. Okay, column index number. Now this time my column, the answer that has the column, the column that has the answer is column number 3. Shall I show it to you? So you see I selected from A to C, right? So right now I'm looking for discount, and discount is in column number 3. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So over here for column index number, I need to type 3, which means the third column has my answer. For range lookup, I'm looking for exact matches. So over here I will type false. Okay, when you want exact matches, you will be typing false. So over here you can press OK. So right now over here it's given in percentage format. Over here it's appearing in decimal format. As you know, 10% in decimal format is 0.1. Okay, so you have to convert this back into percentage format. So what you can do is very simply, you can come and click on this percentage symbol over here, and this will come back to 10%. Okay, and then you can go ahead and replicate the formula for the others. Okay, so I hope so far it's making sense. Okay, if not, I would recommend you just go back again and watch these steps again. Okay, as you keep practicing, this will fall into place. Okay, even myself at the beginning it wasn't very easy, but as I kept practicing with paper after paper, it has now become kind of normal for me. Okay, the next question, it says, so now the first part is done. We have found the cost, we have found the discount. Now the next part is we have to display the number of courses with a cost reference of C. Okay, so we have to use a spreadsheet function. Okay, you can't go and manually count them and write the number. That wouldn't work. You have to use a function. Okay, so over here that answer needs to appear. So you need to count how many C's are over here and put the value in this particular cell. So in this case, the function that you can use is a function called COUNTIF. Okay, so I'm going to count how many cells have the value C in it. So how do I do it? I come to insert function and I search for COUNTIF. Okay, so since I have used it recently, it's over here. You can come over here and search for it. Okay, so in COUNTIF, the first question is range. Where do you want us to count? Okay, from where to where do you want us to count? So I tell my computer, count from here to here, count from B3 all the way to B16. Okay, then the second question is, okay, what do you want us to search for? What do you want us to find? What do you want us to look for? So I tell my computer, look for the value C. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So go through B3 to B16 looking for the value C. So then my computer does a quick check and tells me that there are 3 cells that have the value C in it. Okay, so courses with the cost reference of C, there are 3 courses with the cost reference of C. Okay, the next question is enter formula to calculate the cost of the open water course with a discount. Okay, open water course with a discount. Okay, so normally the cost is 400, a 10% discount is being given, and we have to calculate the cost. Okay, so what we can do is, remember, all formulas in Excel begin with the equal symbol. So you put the equal symbol first. This is the cost minus open brackets 10% of the cost. Okay, so we don't type the values, we type the cell addresses. So C3, whatever value is in C3, subtract it with the discount multiplied by the cost. Okay, so this will tell us the amount with discount. Okay, so you can see the cost was normally 400. After a 10% discount, the customer has to pay only 360. Okay, the next question says open water venue fee. Okay, so open water venue fee, the answer is supposed to appear in column number H. Okay, so now once again, to understand how to do this, you have to come to the details worksheet, and in the details worksheet you can see the open water venue fee per day. Per day it is 18 pounds. Okay, so then what you have to do is open water venue fee, how many days are there in, how many days is this course in the open water venue? It is 2 days. Per day how much? 18 pounds. Yes, you have figured it out. You have got to multiply the two values. Okay, so remember, every formula in Excel begins with the equal symbol, so put equal number of days multiplied by, you can type 18 over here, no probs, but I would recommend go and refer to the cell address. Okay, and then you can press enter. So can you see F3 multiplied by the details worksheet value in D10. Okay, why do I recommend referring to the cell address? That is because if this value changes, automatically the cost worksheet will get updated because they are connected. If you manually go and type 18 pounds and say, for example, later on the value changes, you will have to manually go back to the worksheet and update the value. Okay, so I recommend connect it, refer to a cell address. So if this value changes, automatically the cost worksheet will get updated. Okay, now you can press enter. Okay, so you can see it is coming to 36 pounds. Okay, now something to keep in mind is this particular cell address is a fixed address. Every time you now whenever you replicate this formula, when you replicate this formula, each time you want to multiply by details worksheet cell D10, right? Every time we want to multiply with details worksheet D10, right? So we want this to be locked. We want to use absolute cell referencing here, right? So make sure you select this address. Okay, select only this address, not F3. Okay, F3 should not be locked because when I pull it down, F3 should become F4, F4 should become F5, isn't it? But details worksheet D10 is going to be fixed, so you can lock it. You can press F4. Okay, so when you press F4, only the details D10 address will get locked. Okay, now you can press enter and come out of the formula. The next thing is we have the tank fee. The tank fee needs to be calculated. For tank fee, let's see the past paper. What does it say? Tank fee. So tank fee as well, if you come to the details worksheet, you can see over here it says the tank fee per dive. Okay, for every dive you have to pay 5 pounds. Okay, so in this particular question, in this you can see the tank fee has to appear over here. How many dives? 4 dives. So once again, equal the number of dives multiplied by the details worksheet C12, the tank fee per dive. Okay, so don't forget once again that this address has to be locked. It has to be absolute cell reference. So press F4. Okay, details multiplied G3 multiplied by this. Yes, that's correct. Now you can press enter and you can see the answer has appeared over here. Okay, then next what do we have? Next we have the total cost needs to be calculated. Okay, so when you come over here, so if you see, this is the cost with the discount, this is the open water venue fee, and this is the tank fee. So basically the total cost will be an addition of all these values, isn't it? So don't forget the equal symbol, equal this plus, sorry, cost with discount, right? Cost with discount plus the open water venue fee plus the tank fee. Okay, enter. Okay, then next the question paper goes on to say replicate all functions and formula for all courses. Okay, so what we can do is we can simply select all 3 of them and we can go ahead and replicate it. Okay, so it works fine. Don't forget to also replicate this. There you go, perfect. Okay, then in the next question it says use a function in the notes column to display free kit bag if the total cost of a course is more than 400 pounds. Cell must be blank if a course does not cost more than 400 pounds. Okay, so in the notes column, in this column we have to put a comment. okay, where if the total cost is more than 400 pounds, automatically here free kit bag should appear, otherwise it should be blank. Okay, so here we can use the function called the if function. Okay, let me show you how it works. So I keep my cursor over here and I come here and I say I want the if function. Okay, so if it doesn't appear for you, you can search for it over here. Let's take the if function, and now the first question is, what are we testing? What is our logical test? So my logical test is this value greater than 400? Okay, that's what I'm checking. I'm checking whether J3 is greater than 400. If it is true, automatically free kit bag should appear. Okay, if it is more than 400, if it is true, automatically free kit bag should appear. If it is false, the question paper has told cell must be blank if a course does not cost more than 400 pounds. So if it is not more than 400, if it is false, it has to be blank. So what you do is you simply press space bar, which means keep the cell blank. Okay, just press space bar. Okay, that's what I also did. Just press space bar and say okay. Okay, so you can see this is more than 400, so automatically free kit bag is appearing over here. Then the question goes on to say we have to replicate the formula, right? So let's replicate and see, is it working? Yes, this is below 400, hasn't appeared. This is more than 400, more than 400, more than 400, so it's working. Okay, it's working quite fine. Okay, then the question paper goes on to say use functions. Okay, they have specifically told you to use a function to display these in an appropriate location. The highest number of dives. So highest number of dives, where do you think I should display it? So you can display it over here itself, highest number of dives. Okay, so to find the highest value that is over here, you can use something called the maximum function. Okay, let me show you how it's done. Let's come to insert function and let's search for max. Okay, let's say go. So here we have the maximum function. So it asks us what is our range. So we can tell our range is from here to here. So the computer will go through this range looking for the maximum value or for the highest value, and it will display that value over here. Okay, so let's say okay. So it tells us that 40 is the maximum, 40 is the highest number of dives. Then we also need to find the lowest number of dives. Okay, so again let's come to insert function, and this time we look for min. Okay, max is for highest, min is for lowest, minimum. Say okay. So once again, what is our range? Our range is from here to here. Okay, do not select the maximum, G3 to G16, and say okay. So it tells, oh, what did I do? Let's try again. Let's go for min. Tell our computer it's from here to here, and we can say okay. So it tells 0 is the lowest number of dives. Okay, then that's it. Next we move on to task B1C. Okay, so task B1C will be continuing in our next video. Okay, see you in the next video.